evening, Namaskar, Swadika to one and all present here. Her Excellency Ambassador Ma'am, Ambassador Sri R. Swaminathan, our esteemed Chief Guest, His Excellency Senator Gurdish Chansri Chawla, and Pravasi Bharat Samman Awardee Sri Deepak Mittal, guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Embassy, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all on Samvidhan Divas. As you are aware, it is on this day in 1949, the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution, which came into effect from January 26, 1950. And it was in the year 2015, Government of India decided to observe November 26 as Constitution Day to mark the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the father of our Constitution. We are proud to mention that the Thai translation of Indian Constitution was released this year on March 12 by His Excellency Mr. Chuan Lik Pai, President of National Assembly and Speaker of the House of Representatives of Thailand. May I now request Ambassador Ma'am, Ambassador Sir, and our Chief Guest to please light the lamp. Thank you, dignitaries, for lighting the ceremonial lamp. It was 13 years ago, on 26 November 2008, 10 terrorists infiltrated through sea and struck simultaneously at Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus Railway Station, Nariman House Complex, Leopard Cafe, Taj Hotel, Oberoi Trident Hotel, and Kama Hospital. When the mayhem ended, after 3 days, 166 innocent people, including 17 security forces personnel and 29 foreign nationals, were killed and more than 300 injured. Those killed during the attack included a lady from Thailand, Ms. Jirachat Kanwani, a Phuket resident in her 20s. Late Jirachat Kanwani was one of the 6 Thai nationals working at Trident Oberoi Hotel in Mumbai when the terrorists broke in and opened fire. Let us take this opportunity to pay homage to Ms. Jirachat Kanwani. May I request dignitaries to pay thorough tribute to Ms. late Jirachat Kanwani and all victims of 26/11 Mumbai attack. Now we have a small short video on 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. On this Constitution Day, let us also salute every Indian who has contributed to make India a better place for the generations to come. I would like to invite Mr. Ravi and Mr. Raghu for a patriotic song.
जहाँ डाल डाल पर सोने की चिड़िया करती है बसेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा। जहाँ सत्य अहिंसा और धर्म का पग पग लगता डेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा। धरती वो जहाँ ऋषि मुनि जपते प्रभु नाम की माला।
हर बालक एक मोहन है और राधा एक बाला, और राधा एक बाला।
जहाँ सूरज सबसे पहले आकर डाले अपना फेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा। ಹರಿವೇ ಗುರು ನುಡಿ ಜ್ಯೋತಿರ್ಲಿಂಗ, ದಯವೇ ಧರ್ಮದ ಮೂಲ ತರಂಗ. ಹರಿವೇ ಗುರು ನುಡಿ ಜ್ಯೋತಿರ್ಲಿಂಗ, ದಯವೇ ಧರ್ಮದ ಮೂಲ ತರಂಗ. ವಿಶ್ವ ಭಾರತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಾರತಿ, ವಿಶ್ವ ಭಾರತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಾರತಿ. ಮೊಳಗಲಿ ಮಂಗಳ ಜಯಬೇರಿ, ಮೊಳಗಲಿ ಮಂಗಳ ಜಯಬೇರಿ. ವಿಶ್ವ ವಿನೂತನ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚೇತನ ಸರ್ವ ಹೃದಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಿ. ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ ಕರುನಾಡ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ, ಗುಡಿ ಗೋಪುರ ಸುರ ಶಿಲ್ಪ ಕಲಾಕೃತಿ. ಕೃಷ್ಣೆ ತುಂಗೆ ಕಾವೇರಿ, ಪವಿತ್ರಿತ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಮನೋಹಾರಿ. ವಿಶ್ವ ವಿನೂತನ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚೇತನ ಸರ್ವ ಹೃದಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಿ. ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ, ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ, ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ. Thank you so much.
जय हिंद।
His Excellency Senator Gurdas Shamsi Chawla, the current President of the Thai-India Parliamentary Friendship Group, Shri Deepak Mittal, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awardee, distinguished speakers, Professor Surat Rajayakul, Director of the India Studies Center of the Chulalongkorn University, Kun Pooja Tripathi, Civil Judge of the Kingdom of Thailand, representatives of various Indian community associations, and faculty members of various universities, friends from the media, namaskar, sawadee-kha, good evening. We are all gathered here, as has been mentioned by the Master of Ceremonies, because it is the Constituent Day of India. But as we also know, it is also a very somber day for all of us in India and the world. The 26/11, as we all heard, is also the anniversary of one of the most heinous terrorist attacks that the world has seen, which occurred in 2008, when 10 terrorists attacked various locations in the financial center of India, Mumbai. The attack lasted more than 24 hours, and more than 166 people lost their lives, including nationals from various foreign countries, including, as we all know, the very young Kanmani from Thailand. More than 300 people, innocent lives people were also injured in this attack. One terrorist was apprehended in the midst of the terrorist attacks, and his interrogation led to the unraveling of the plot of this state-sponsored terrorist attack from across the border. So on this day, we must pledge to call out those who harbor and support terrorists, and we must also reaffirm our commitment to abolish and eliminate the scourge of terrorism. While we are commemorating the Constitution Day, We can never forget that the freedom of India was hard earned. Millions of our countrymen and women participated in the struggle for freedom. Many thousands lost their lives. Most of them were faceless. But there were some who, by their sheer courage, leadership, and the spirit of sacrifice, became examples for future generations. One such was Birsa Munda, a tribal from present-day Jharkhand state, who was a great patriot and a martyr who fought against the British in the late 19th century. He led a rebellion in 1894 and rallied the tribes against the British. He served his people, especially the needy and the sick, and was worshipped as Birsa Bhagwan, as a god. He died in captivity and continues to be revered today by the people of Jharkhand and all over India as Bhagwan Birsa Munda. The Government of India has taken the initiative to revive the memories of these heroes, to inspire the new generation of Indians, and we will shortly see a film on Bhagwan Birsa Munda. On 15th of November, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, declared this day, 15th of November, which happens to be the birth anniversary of Birsa Munda, as Janjatiya Gaurav Divas, as a tribute to our tribal heroes. Government of India has also taken over the years many numerous steps towards upliftment of tribal communities of India by offering various scholarships, including for students belonging to scheduled tribes. The Eklavya model residential schools, for example, provide quality education to the tribal children in their own environment. The Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, TriFed, is also facilitating livelihood generation activities for improving lives of tribals across the country. In fact, we are among the first Indian embassies abroad to set up an Atmanirbhar Bharat corner in the embassy, displaying distinctive handicrafts and artifacts produced by TriFed. And on your way out, you can see it in the display showcase that we have on the ground floor. Another section of this evening's program includes also a short film on the Padma Awards. The Padma Awards are the highest civilian awards conferred on Indians as well as foreigners who have achieved great heights in their respective fields. These civilian awards are generally considered a preserve of the elite and the intellectuals. However, conferment of these civilian awards to people from the most backward regions and people who work tirelessly at the ground level has now led to these awards being called the People's Padma Awards. So people such as, for example, Muhammad Sharif, who is a bicycle mechanic by profession, but who has performed the last rites of 25,000 people, or Marachi Subbaraman, who is a social worker who has helped in building 3 million toilets, the elderly barefoot environmentalist Tulsi Gowda, the orange seller and school builder Harikala Hajaba, and the transgender folk artist Manjama Jogti have been recognized for their selfless service to the communities around them. And you will shortly see a short documentary and a slideshow on them. Now, coming back, of course, to the main theme, the Indian Constitution. The makers of our Constitution, with their wisdom and foresight, prepared a vibrant and a dynamic document that reflects the ideals and aspirations of all of India. It was on 26 November 1949 that the Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution because the Constituent Assembly, in fact, was set up before India became independent in 1947. The Assembly was set up in 1946. So over nearly 3 years, it met in several sessions and the Constitution was adopted. on this very day in 1949, and 3 months later it actually entered into effect, thereby making India, which was the Dominion of India, into the Republic of India. It was in 2015, the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is also called the father of the Constitution, that the government decided to celebrate 26th November as Constitution Day. So it is a mark of gratitude to the chief architect of the Constitution on the one hand, and to instill in the younger generation respect and appreciation for this basic document of the country and the principles on which our nationhood is based. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world, and yet retains dynamism and is amenable to change with the times. It is in this spirit that the fundamental rights enshrined in the Constitution have been expanded over a period of time to meet the needs of the 21st century. While the Constitution of India is amenable to change to meet the needs, the core principles remain inviolable. While the Indian Constitution provides for rights, it also speaks of fundamental duties. It can be said that the soul of the Constitution spirit is in fact in the preamble, which is one of the finest preambles ever written, and in the parts pertaining to fundamental rights, the directive, principles of state policy, and the fundamental duties. It is the wisdom of the Constituent Assembly, which was chaired in fact by India's first president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and which included several legal luminaries led by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, that the Constitution of India has successfully embraced the diversity and expanse of India, where all its peoples with different cultures, different economic classes, religions, languages are embraced as one people. And it is for this reason that India is the world's largest and most vibrant democracy. And in fact, it is this constitution which gives us all our rights, that we've seen, in fact, the humblest people rising to the topmost posts of the land. This year, I believe, we are also observing and celebrating the centenary year of one of our former presidents, K.R. Narayanan, a very fine statesman and leader, a former diplomat who also happens to be my predecessor. He was ambassador to Thailand in the late 1960s. So he was in fact a Dalit, and he rose to become the first Dalit president of India. And since then we've had many others, including the current president, who is also from a Dalit background. So with this I close. Thank you all. मैं आप सबको संविधान दिवस के शुभ अवसर पर हार्दिक बधाई देती हूँ. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
The Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life, and its spirit is always the spirit of age. With this quote of father of our Constitution, I would like to invite civil judge Kun Pooja Tripathi to address the gathering with her valuable words.
Sawadee ka. Namaste. Good evening, Her Excellency Suchitra Ma'am, Alpana Ma'am, Ashwin Sir, all dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It is an immense pleasure for me to be a part of the celebration of the Constitution Day today, also known as Samvidhan Divas. I would like to say one thing before starting the Constitution Day today. During my LLM, I studied my LLM as well as my PhD at the National Law School of India University. And during my LLM time, the incident happened in Mumbai was there. The next morning when I had my breakfast, that was a horrible one to see the news of this incident on the first page. So my deepest condolence to all families members who lost their life and injured from this incident. Now coming back to the ceremony, the celebration of the Constitution Day today. As many people know, my name is Pooja Tripathi. My parents, both of them, they were born and brought up in India. I was born and brought up in Thailand. I study my LLB from Thammasat University, Faculty of Law, and during my LLB time, I got a huge chance to study the Constitution of the Kingdom of Thailand. After that, I went to pursue my LLM as well as my PhD from the National Law School of India University, Bengaluru. So during that, I came to realize the similarities as well as the differences between the two constitutions. During my LLM, it was a wonderful chance for me to study and overview how the India system works, how it functions, what is the structure, and definitely it has a massive differences from Thai. But one thing in similarity is that the fundamental rights have been mentioned, enshrined in both of the constitutions. Me, as a judge at the Court of Justice of Thailand, once in life, I have that opportunity to serve a nation is the biggest thing for me, and nothing can be bigger than this. Being a part as a legal profession, I realize and do value the importance of the Constitution, whether it is the Constitution of the Kingdom of Thailand or the India. As I mentioned, we have enshrined the fundamental rights in both of the constitutions. In particular, when we talk about the Constitution of India, we have a protector, or you can say the Supreme Court of India. Under Article 50, it mentioned the separations of the judiciary power from the executive one. This has been one of the reasons why the check and balance system is motivated. The Supreme Court, in many court decisions, we can see that even though law might be enacted from the Legislative Assembly or sometimes from the executive one, but no laws can be in contradiction or in violation with the provision of the Constitution. And in order to protect this, the Supreme Court of India has taken a very strong point to make sure that that will not happen. Now, when we look into the Constitution of India in its preamble itself, it mentions one and foremost terms other than the term fraternity, liberty, or equality is the term justice. And this term you can say this term has special linkage to me as a judge. I think nobody should be denied to access to justice. Justice shall never ever be denied. Everyone should be able to access to justice. In India, as I mentioned, Supreme Court has taken a good standpoint to show this. Now, to be a judge myself, it's also important that you give certain guarantee that all of those judges as an individual as well as the judicial system itself shall not be performed under any pressure, under any fear. So in order to do so, to allow the judges perform their duties independently, in India there were two significant provisions of law. The first one is the Judicial Officer Protection Act in 1850, and another one is the Judges Protection Act in 1985. All of these law, both of them, they have given certain guarantee, certain immunity to those judges to ensure that if they are performing their duties with bona fide intention, they have no need to be under any suppression, any fears, nothing at all. And I think that has given even more value to the Indian court systems. People, at least, they believe that court will give them justifications in all. Wherever they go, if they don't get fair, they don't get justice, but the court is there in order to give them the justice. And it will not be possible at all if the judges, they are not performing their duty independently. So with this wonderful occasion, I would like to congratulate all Indian citizens in India as well as in Thailand to have such a wonderful constitution, which has taken many, many years to come up with this constitution in history, the longest one, you can say. With my heartiest congratulations, and thank you so much once again, the Embassy of India in Thailand, to invite me to be a part of this auspicious ceremony. ขอบคุณค่ะ Yay.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Surat Orachaikun on the stage. He is an assistant professor at Department of International Relations, Faculty of Political Science, and founding director of Indian Studies Center in Chulalongkorn University. He is also a lead translator of Indian Constitution in Thai language. I request him to address the gathering.
Senator Buddhist Chansiri Chawla, Ambassador Suchitra Durai, Ambassador Ramachandra Swaminathan, Shri Deepak Mittal, all VIP friends and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my academic circle friends here from SW, Dean, Ajahn Manor, Ajahn Mohammad Fahim, Ajahn Rustam, Ajahn Sopana, and so on. So all familiar faces seen here. Today, I have been given one of the most difficult tasks to embark upon. I have been delivering lecture on the Constitution of India more than 28 times, which I counted, with about 30 slides of PowerPoint. So when I was approached by Kun Ashwin Courtney's that I must speak only for 15 minutes, this gave me quite a challenging task, because we normally dominate classroom with our PowerPoint slides, So 15 minutes is quite a challenge to talk about one of the greatest constitutions of the world. And it is, of course, the constitution of the largest democracy. So instead of relying on my academic theories, I decided to change my mind a little bit and try to improvise it, to tell you about some personal experiences and so on. When I started to teach about India foreign and security policies, I had always believed that the Constitution of India was a direct byproduct of nationalist movement. Because, when you read the Constitution of India, you try to go to the preamble and then some bits of this, and then you sleep, and then you come back again for bits of things. You didn't take it seriously. Until the government of India, through the Embassy of India, gave me the opportunity to translate the Constitution of India. And Madam Suchitra knows this very well, that I try to avoid her all the time, because she would ask me for the translated Constitution of India. It was quite delayed, quite late. Let's not talk about the deadline at all. But once you start reading it seriously, you start falling in love with it. And once when you start reading it along the line of the debates in the Constituent Assembly, you start to feel that huge responsibility is now put on your burden. Nearly 300 people were there in the winter of 1946 in Delhi, coming from different kind of ethnic background, diverse backgrounds. But they were truly committed that they are going to do something about newly independent country called India. So now you can feel what I was feeling. How to make sure that each clause and each sentence is articulated in such a way that you don't confuse the message, you don't send the wrong messages, because of that kind of commitments those people were there. And of course, including Baba Sahib Ambedkar, who were given a main task to also put everything in frame. So, the Constituent Assembly debate, which I enjoyed so much, was talking about not of their generation. They were talking about what would happen in the future. Importantly, how could the Constitution of India belong to every single citizen? And that's what Pratap Bhanu Mehta wrote in the Oxford Handbooks of the Indian Constitution, a very wonderful term of constitutional morality or constitutional method, which means that it is the only book that every single Indian citizen can rely upon. So many cases that went to the Supreme Court, and of course, the previous speaker before me, the judge, spoke about the role of the Supreme Court, the justices, who function as a vanguard protecting the Constitution. So today, when you see the word Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, you cannot deny the role of the makers of the Constitution, which of course gives peace and security to every single citizen. The sense of optimism that those individuals have during their debates is something we all can never even have, even 10% of them. Today we are so frustrated with technology, why this email has not come yet, why this and that and so on. But can you imagine 1946 winter? Some could not even attend the session on time because of the long journey. But they were committed. They were determined for this country. And this is how I actually tell my Thai audience, whether it's National Defense College, King Prachatipak Institute, or any other places, Staff and Command College, why India would become a real superpower, which already a superpower, and will increasingly be an integral part of Thai people as well. Because the fundamental is very strong. The fundamental is very strong. I'm not talking about the government stability, I'm talking about political stability, which is, of course, something very crucial. And that's why I try to tell my Thai friends that you can't rely on information. You have to convert information into intelligence to read India. When you read the Constitution of India, as Madam Ambassador mentioned, the preamble is so touching. And if you divide so many important cases into equality, liberty, and fraternity, you will find that the Constitution is a living document. Many Thais ask me, why so many amendments? Believe it or not, members of Constituent Assembly said very clearly, the Constitution of India should be easily amended because this reflects our generation needs, but that does not necessarily mean the next generation needs. Very forward-looking. Unbelievable. Tomorrow, my radio show, weekly radio show, will discuss about what Madam's Ambassador just mentioned, Shri K.R. Narayan, who was a former ambassador of India to Thailand. And he was here in 1969, 100th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And this was about a few years after Ajahn Karuna Kusalasai was released from Bangkok prison. And the preface that Ambassador K.R. Narayan wrote for Ajahn Karuna was like, one page, which you can feel that you can take him as an example of India's journey from 1948 to the early 21st century. He was very humble. He was of Dalit type from Kerala. He walked 15 kilometers through paddy field to go to school. He learned most of the lessons by standing outside the class because some barred him from attending classes, for he did not pay the whole fees. But he was always humble, moderate, and optimistic. And that is the spirit of the Constitution of India. It doesn't tell you what you should do alone, but it also gives you the kind of direction where you should go. Today, when Indian people celebrate their constitution, Indian diaspora, anywhere in the world, we cannot forget the nearly 300 members of the Constituent Assemblies who were committed that be patient with it and everything will yield soon. And right now, I think it is the most sustainable constitution that I have ever seen. And this experience came to me because I am not in administrative law field. I am from foreign and security field, international relations. My many thanks to the government of India for assigning me this mammoth task to translate this wonderful constitution, and I have learned so much. So instead of that 28 slides, which I talk a lot about the Constitution of India, I would like to end it here. And thank you very much once again. Jai Hind.
Now I would like to call on a stage artist of Thai Bharat Culture Lodge for a skit. The skit beautifully portrays the Constitution of India. It is the longest written constitution of any sovereign nation of the world that provides comprehensive framework to guide and govern the country. The basic principle being of the people, for the people and by the people. It gives all citizens equality before the law, and it is due to our constitution that any eligible national can become Prime Minister or President of the country. Constitution ensures equality between man and woman in all areas, prohibits employment of child below 14 years, and also ensures compulsory education to all children of 6 to 14 years. Constitution also defines fundamental rights and duties of all citizens. Thai Bharat Culture Lodge.
Distinguished guests, senators, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I congratulate the Embassy of India for celebrating the Constitution Day of India. Secondly, I am thankful from Thai Bharat Culture Lodge for permission to participate with our students to perform skit one-act play. Now, I would request Mr. Vipul Sharma, who is taking part as Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I request him to come on the stage and present the Constitution to us, to the citizen of India. I am very, very thankful to Mr. Vipul Sharma ji, who has performed this duty. I am very, very thankful to him for preparing this constitution, and because B.R. Ambedkar ji has worked very hard with the Constituent Assembly in preparing this Constitution. I would like Mr. Vipul Sharma to say a few words.
The help of the Constituent Assembly members today, I dedicate it to the people of India. To the people of India.
I have received the Constitution of India from our respected B.R. Ambedkar ji on behalf of citizens of India. So I am very thankful to B.R. Ambedkar ji for giving us this Constitution to the citizens of India. Now you have listened about the Constitution of India from so many personalities. I would not take more time. I have to finish my program within 7 minutes. So, on the Republic Day of India, citizens guard the independent judiciary. India is great. Our Constitution is our pride. This Constitution is biggest and longest written Constitution in the world. Importance of this special Constitution is that ordinary capable persons can become Prime Minister of India and President of India. There are many races, many religions, several languages, but in spite of having different ideas, we are united. In Hindi we say, Anekta mein ekta. It's a garland of many flowers of different colors. Now the Constitution has changed and everything has changed. And now we have to new Constitution, government of the people, for the people, by the people. This is what we are adopting now. It has explained how government should work, legislative to make laws, executive to implement the laws, judiciary, how judiciary works independently. Our Constitution has explained very nicely about the fundamental duties and fundamental rights of the citizens. I am very thankful, all of you. Now we are going to start our one act play, which is in Hindi, because Hindi is our Rashtra Bhasha, our Hindi is our national language. So these one act play skit is being presented by the Thai students in Hindi. Now first scene, I will come to Miss Neta Bhawan, Sakap, Thana Phat, Lipsri Kun, Yon Hui Kim, come on the stage and start to perform I may not tell you that father does not allow his daughter to go on any kind of trip or tour, but when his son comes, he allows that further you see how it happened.
मैं भी दोस्तों के साथ गोवा जाना चाहती हूँ।
तुम लड़की हो, बाहर नहीं जा सकती, जाओ घर बैठो।
पापा, मुझे कल अपने दोस्तों के साथ बाहर घूमने जाना है। मुझे 10,000 रुपये चाहिए।
अरे तू तो मेरा लाडला बेटा है, ये लो 15,000 रुपए और घूम के आओ।
पापा, ये क्या बात हुई? मैंने दोस्तों के साथ बाहर जाने को पूछा तो आपने मना कर दिया, और भैया ने पूछा तो उसे जाने दे रहे हैं। क्यों? मुझे अपनी तरह से जीने का हक नहीं?
देखिए, ये सभी हमारा भारत का संविधान, भारत के संविधान की धारा के तहत लड़का और लड़की को अपनी जिंदगी जीने का पूरी आज़ादी है, इसलिए आप जा सकती हैं। धन्यवाद। अब दूसरे सीन के लिए for the second one act play, which is just like as you know, the mother asks his son, He was not even 12, he is only 12 years old to work, go to the work. But he says, I want to have some study. His mother does not allow. Then what happened is she has also got one daughter. Daughter comes. She says, Mommy, I also want to read and get some education on how they perform. Just see. Now I look at Kaniakon, Kwanchan, to come on the stage, Thavinun, Miss Thavinun, Viphacharan, Master Sumesh to come on the stage and perform the in Hindi.
नमस्ते जी। बेटा काम करने जाओ, देर हो रही है। मम्मी, मैं स्कूल में पढ़ाई करना चाहता हूँ। तुम काम करके कुछ कमा कर रहते हो तो खला का गुजारा चलता है। मम्मी, मैं पढ़ लिख कर बड़ा होकर धन कमा कर आपको दूंगा।
मम्मी मम्मी मम्मी, मैं भी पढ़ना चाहती हूँ।
नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैं नहीं पढ़ा सकती।
देखिए,
धन्यवाद।
मम्मी जी को ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि आपको पता है कि विधान की धारा के अनुसार 6 साल से 14 साल तक के बच्चों से काम करवाना मना है और 6 साल से 14 साल से बच्चों के लिए शिक्षा भी जरूरी है, इसलिए इनको पढ़ाओ। धन्यवाद। They are saying this is the Constitution of India. They are holding this one. Constitution of India. Constitution of India shows the fundamental rights. Constitution of India describing the fundamental duties. These are the same with other students. So, हम प्रण करते हैं कि हम प्रण करते हैं कि हम भारत के विधान का पूर्ण रूप से पालन करेंगे, जिससे हमारा देश उन्नति करेगा, फलेगा, फूलेगा, फलेगा और फूलेगा। So we the citizens of India swear in the name of God that we will follow the Constitution of India and uphold the integrity of India faithfully so that our India may progress. Thank you very much. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Thank you very much.
और सदियों से हम भारतवासियों का प्रेरणा का स्रोत बना हुआ है। This year Padma Award, so the best of India and not just the elite. Rightly referred as People's Padma, it is open for the most ordinary people who have inspired with their extraordinary achievements. The inspiring stories of winners of this year Padma Award, from para-athlete K.V. Venkatesh to 98-year-old educationalist Nanda Prusti, and from the barefoot environmentalist Tulasi Godda to transgender folk artist Manjamma Jagati, prove that award fully honors significant achievement of India's heritage and development. Next, we have a presentation of few inspiring moments of this year Padma Giving Award. लड़े ओ वीर जवानों की तरह, ठंडा खून फौलाद हुआ, मरते मरते भी मार गिराए, तभी तो देश आज़ाद हुआ। लाखों स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों के बलिदान का परिणाम है कि आज हम आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं। And as part of a year-long celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, our Honorable Prime Minister declared November 15, the birth anniversary of tribal freedom fighter Birsa Munda, as Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. It is dedicated to the memory of brave tribal freedom fighters so that generations acknowledge their sacrifice for the country and take forward their legacy. Now we have a small documentary on Bhagwan Birsa Munda. I, on behalf of Embassy, would like to extend sincere thanks to His Excellency Senator Gurdeep Chansri Chawla Chairman of the Thai India Parliament Committee, and Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awardee Sri Deepak Mittal for taking time out from their busy schedule to attend these occasions. We are grateful to you, Excellency. We extend our sincere thanks to Khun Pooja Tripathi and Mr. Surat Horai Chaikun for adorning the occasion and sharing their opinions today. We are all enriched by your speeches. Thanks to Thai Bharat Culture Lodge for their participation and wonderful performance. I would like to thank Mr. Nagraj for technical support to make this function a success. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our informed audience, without whose participation and involvement no such celebration is complete. Thank you all. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.
Today, the Constitution Day of India, celebrated by Embassy of India today as the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. It was an excellent program. Her Excellency spoke very well. Dr. Surat on the Constitution of India, and Dr. Madhu also, she spoke, Mrs. Tripathi spoke very well on the Constitution. And the slides, they show for the Padam Shri Award given to the lowest level of people, the Dalits and the lower caste of people, was an excellent presentation by the Government of India. And I congratulate the Embassy for an excellent event today. Thank you very much.
I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate the people of India, and particularly the Embassy of India in Thailand, on today, the Constitutional Day of India. Even though it is also a sad day to reflect on the event what happened in Mumbai, but generally the event is able to show the positive and the negatives and the sad story about what happened. But we all look forward with optimism and great progress between India and Thailand. Thank you.
Namaskar. Greetings on the 72nd Constitution Day of India. It's a historic day because in 1949, on the 26th of November, the Constituent Assembly adopted this wonderful constitution, which is one of the longest written constitutions in the world, and it has stood the test of time despite so many decades having passed since its adoption. It is the same constitution which continues to be valid, and it is the basic law of the land, and it's inviolable, and this is the basis of our nationhood. It sets out all the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties, the directive states of principles of state policy, and it's an incredible document. And we are celebrating Constitution Day today. In addition to this, we are also commemorating several other occasions because we celebrated very recently on the 15th of November the Janjatiya Divas, which is to honor the contribution of the tribal people, both in the freedom struggle of India, particularly the tribal leader Birsa Munda, who is known as Bhagwan Birsa Munda, particularly in Jharkhand and all over India in fact, and to honor and recognize the contribution of the tribal people in India's growth story. Further, today we also commemorated the Padma Awards. The Padma Awards are the highest civilian awards given by the Government of India for high achievements, both within India as well as for foreigners. So this year was unique in the last few years, in fact, that these awards are not just given to intellectuals and to the elite, but also to very normal people who have contributed greatly to the communities. So for example, we had a mechanic who has helped his community. We've had an orange seller who has set up schools, very humble people who have contributed greatly to society. including transgender, folk artists, etc. So this is the fabric of India. It doesn't matter whether which class, community, economic background, religion, language that you speak, all of you are equally responsible, and you contribute to the growth of India, and we are proud of everyone who is an Indian and who's contributed to this. It is also a very somber day today, the 26/11, the financial hub of India. In 2008, terrorists came from across the border, and more than 166 people were killed. This also included nationals of several countries, including Thailand, and so we paid tribute to those who died in that horrific attack, and conveyed our condolences to the bereaved families. We also remember that we have to take a pledge to eliminate the scourge of international terrorism. This is something which has to be condemned in the strongest possible terms. So while it's a cause for celebration, it's also a very somber day as we remember this very horrendous attack on the sovereignty of India. Thank you. Jai Hind.